What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. Welcome to New York Jets Syndicate channel. So, Dalvin Cook, I want to say he might be kind of playing both sides, right? From my understanding from the Miami Dolphins situation, they'd love to have him, but I think the word I saw was considered him a luxury. So they're not dying to use his services. The New York Jets, we're not dying to use his services either, but we've showed the most positive intent, right, for trying to recruit him. We've had him in the building. He got to watch a practice, stayed over the course of a couple days, going through a physical, all that sort of stuff. But this might be, master chess game moves, if you will, by Dalvin Cook. But there was some interesting news that came out that Nick Hicks, who's his personal trainer, from what I understand, he had put out a tweet that he deleted, basically saying, if only the Jets knew what Dalvin Cook said about practice, something along those lines, they'd be heartbroken. Um, and so it got me to thinking, it's been a while. We've kind of been enveloped in all of this positive news in terms of acquisitions coming through. Aaron Rodgers wanting to come. We have Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner that we've drafted. We signed DJ Reed. Quan would have almost came back. All of the defensive line guys, Al Wood, Quentin Jefferson. There's a few other guys, Kalai Campbell, that we could have had come through. So we've been kind of riding high, and we've forgotten this notion that at one point in time we had the stigma that we're willing to throw you the bag because of how porous we've been. And that hasn't necessarily left. It's only a couple years ago that Kirk Cousins uh, you know, used us to increase the deal that he was going to get from the Vikings. And maybe Dalvin Cook is essentially trying to do the same thing. Miami, he's kind of considered a dream destination, although we also got the reports that the New York Jets are at the top of the list. And then you also have his brother in Buffalo. You also have the connections to the Patriots, who also are bringing in Ezekiel Elliott. So he has incentive to try to play all of these teams against each other, and it just so happens we're also all in the same division. So there's going to be somebody that's going to want to try to screw somebody over, while also improving your roster. But you take a look at the New York Jets, and I think we're in a prime position, right? We brought them in. We've seen what we're comfortable with. We'll see how the New York Jets kind of take this. We'll probably never hear about it realistically, but overall, we don't really need him. I do get the feeling that Robert Saleh indeed does love his running back room. Obviously, you would love a more proven insurance policy. Right now, you're looking at Michael Carter as the best production player, having a solid year one, having a porous year two. Bam Knight, very limited snaps. Israel, we know the explosion, but he's never touched an NFL field officially for a game that actually matters. So you're riding high based on what they've seen from practice and based on the limited exposure we have to these guys. And then, of course, if Brees Hall can be ready for week one and he feels 100% confident, perfect. But even then, you want to make sure that there's not rust, that he's as set as he can be. That's really just something you kind of have to work your way through. So I do find it interesting, the comments from Nick, from his personal trainer. And basically, I think somebody called him out on it, and he called it basically like a bad joke, or something along those lines. But I think it might be proven, right? And there may be some real stake in it, right? Yeah, you pull up to practice. Defensively, I'm sure there was no complaints. Offensively, you gotta love the weapons, from the wide receiver to the tight end room. You take a look at the running backs, not really going to impact him much, other than maybe who potentially takes some snaps away from him. And then you take a look at the offensive line, where things could be a bit more concerning, right? Connor McGovern, up there in age, but has a heavy incentive to go out there and try to win the starting job again. AVT you love, and then everything else is question marks. Can Tomlinson bounce back? Can Mekhi Becton prove he's a starter? Can he prove he can just stay on the field? When will Dwayne Brown return? How much of a role will Billy Turner see if things pan out otherwise with Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton? And then on the right side, can Max Mitchell prove that he's ready to take the next step, and that those series of games we've seen where he was at least adequate wasn't a mirage for a guy that plenty of people thought was going to be a project. So I can see there being some concerns, but this does kind of start giving it's starting to definitely give me the sense, and I'll be honest, it is a lot about the tweet right now, that maybe we are kind of being used to see what he can do to drive the value for his services to go to Miami. With all of the connections he has there, and arguably one of the best offenses in the NFL as well, can't hurt. So I don't know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the whole situation, and I'll catch you again. Peace.